What are some good tips for living where it snows? Leave a loo and follow distance when driving. Have an emergency kit in your car that includes a blanket. Edit. Some great tips below. Let me add. Keep your wiper fluid full. Tires at winter pressure. Check your spare. And have portable emergency lights. And watch for deer. And additional gear just in case you have yo walk somewhere. My guy used yo roll his eyes every time I would make sure he had an extra coat / glove / winter deer in his car. But one night his car got stuck during a blizzard. I got stuck in our driveway trying to go get him. Taxi cabs were quoting 5 hours, so he had to walk the 3 miles back to our house. He was thankful to have the extra gear. Texan here. We are not used to freezing weather and icy roads. The incident I remember is below our office window someone managed to flip his SUV onto his driver's side door. The driver crawled up and out of the passenger door. He was wearing a t-shirt and shorts. Texan here. Truck driver. Usually stay in Texas. Live up in Amarillo where we actually get some winter occasionally. Wear t-shirt and shorts most of the year anyway. Took a run up to Colorado a few years ago in what was squarely in the summer. My dumb bus drove right into a snowstorm. Will never be unprepared for weather again. My kids would always roll their eyes and complain when I'd tell them to bring coats and boots with them. I'm only going. I don't need that stuff. But what if you break down, get a flat tire, or have some other problem? A friend's son was stuck for 5 hours in traffic due to a big multiple car accident. The weather wasn't bad for him that time, but you just never know what might happen. I'm one of those kids, and while I always complain, my parents are right. Probably even out of experience. I deeply appreciate you for that as well. Better a complaining kid than an injured one. Thanks for keeping an eye out for us stupid kids. Have an emergency kit in your car that includes a blanket and a wool sweater, gloves / mittens, and trail mix / crackers, and a bag of cat litter. If you go off the road / get stuck, you can put it under your tires for traction. Have an emergency kit in your car that includes a blanket and a wool sweater, gloves / mittens, and trail mix / crackers, and winter footwear, sand, or litter, and a small shovel. I've had to shovel out several times over the years. I've had the USPS guy stuck by mailbox a few times. Needed both traction and the shovel. Got stuck out without those things last year. Fortunately was close to a house and the owner came out with a shovel. Someone else, who had been stuck before, had left behind a piece of carpet for the traction. Self-heating MREs are great for this. Have snacks too. But MREs have a lot of calories and the heat will make things more bearable. Give yourself lots of time to drive slow. I go 10-15 miles per hour below the post. Have cat litter in your car. It is better than salt when you are in a drift. Don't go below 1/2 tank, just in case. If you have a truck, have cinder blocks. Lots of them. You need the weight, and have them towards the back of the bed. Or bags of sand for weight. A lot of stores sell tube-shaped bags of sand for weighing down truck beds that stack really well. Canadian here. Those tubes of sand are called sandbags and weigh about 15 to 20 kilograms. Make your own conversion. Place them over your rear axles in the truck bed and drive slower. They won't move. No frames or tie downs required. I put 4 in my truck and we are good to go. One note. If you can, build a frame that keeps the weight over the rear axle. That's the important bit. All these are good. In addition, if you're a woman, keep extra thick pairs of socks in the car and a pair of larger sized boots. If you wear regular shoes or dress boots, they won't cut it if you have to walk in the snow. A really good idea is to have an emergency prep bag with all the essentials for one day in case you have to get a hotel or are just stuck somewhere unexpectedly. Not a bad idea for men either. Men's shoes tend to be more practical, but there's no substitute for boots and an emergency candle inside an empty tin can. You'd be surprised how much warmth one of those can provide in a small space. And it's one of those things you never want to have to need, but you're incredibly glad you have it if you do. Edit. And if you're able to, when it first snows, maybe find a buddy who knows how to drive on the snow. And a safe place to test out how it feels, as long as you can find somewhere safe to do it. Learning what a slide feels like by doing it on purpose in a safe situation is much better than experiencing it for the first time when you're not expecting it and on the road with others. I grew up in snow country, but whenever I buy a new car, the first thing I do with snow is take it to a big empty parking lot and drive like an absolute asshole. Keep some blankets, outerwear, snacks, water, hand warmers are also good. If you get stuck, make sure the exhaust is clear if the car is on. I like to include a small snow shovel as well, and a windshield scraper. Always, as a backup for a scraper. Always keep an non-essential plastic card in your wallet, too. Rewards cards or a Costco card can help you scrape your car in a bind. Try not to use your credit card or DL, because they can snap if it's cold enough, and pump the brakes. Don't slam on them, or else they'll lock up, and you'll slide everywhere. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe this is false for newer cars. This is true for older vehicles without interlock brakes, but with newer cars you are not supposed to pump the brakes as the interlock already does this. I would be curious on other people's thoughts on this. If you're trying to stop the sap in a straight line, then yeah, hold it down and let the abs do the pumping. But if you're trying to recover from a slide, holding down the brakes will take away whatever your control you have. You gotta work the wheel, throttle, and maybe brakes to try to get the front end pointed in the right direction. This is good for older vehicles without anti-lock brakes. However, newer cars with anti-lock brakes will stop better by slamming on the brakes, holding the pedal down, and letting the computer figure out how much braking action to apply. The knocking sound and pulse felt in the pedal can scare people when not used to it, but that is the anti-lock system doing its job. I usually recommend those that aren't used to driving in the snow to find an empty parking lot, get up to 10 or 15 miles per hour and slam on the brakes to find out how the vehicle will respond, so there aren't surprises when you really have to do it. Not sure where op is, but yes. The emergency kit and blanket, along with chains, extra clothes and gloves, maybe hand-foot warmers, I read cat litter, and for my own 2 cents, a shovel, and a spare tire. Thanks for the tips. I'm already working on a kit, just adding supplies from recommendation/research. This is counterintuitive maybe, but get outside as much as you can. Fresh air, exercise, and sunlight are a great cure for winter blahs. The sunlight reflecting off the snow really brightens things up. So open your blinds to let it in the house as well. Have sunglasses when you drive because of this lol. Sunscreen in the winter when outside is a real thing. Letting the sunlight into the house is a good way to warm it up as well. Houses used to be built with windows to take advantage of a southerly sun hanging low in the sky to reach interior spaces and warm them up. A big brick wall on the inside will absorb a lot of energy and radiate it into the house while the sun is set. My California born and bred wife never believed me when I said -20°C with the sun out and no wind was a beautiful day. She kept saying that if it's below freezing it's fucking cold. Then we moved to central Canada, my hometown, and she had one of those days. And even took the dog out for a longer walk. It was so nice. Lol. Yes. Find things you enjoy doing outside. Long, cold winters are miserable if you can't learn to enjoy something about them. Build a snowman, or if enough snow, a snow castle. Put some water over it before the colder night, and it will get icy and sturdy. Nissy, shovel while it's still freezing. Don't let it warm up and refreeze. Also, if it's going to snow all night and you have to be somewhere in the morning, go shovel what you can before bed. Morning you will thank you. Took me 3 hours to shovel my car out once. Luckily my job was driving related and also closed. I just wanted Chinese, snow, hail, Christmas, a damn hurricane. Chinese places don't close. If you didn't know, even if you don't have somewhere to go, you should do this. I pretty much always do a preemptive shovel at night if it's going to be a large storm overnight. 2 medium shovels isn't as bad as 1 huge one. Specific example of this, the half melted slush left by plows by the street is heavy and a pain to move, but if it gets really cold and freezes solid you're royally screwed. Pickaxe time. Pipe bomb time. Adding to that, for long heavy snows it's best to shovel multiple times throughout the snowfall. It's a fucking pain. but shoveling 2 solid feet of snow in one go sucks worse. More snow shoveling advice. 1. Don't just shovel it out into the street. The snowplow will just push it back onto your driveway. 2. Avoid piling it up to make snow banks at the edges of your driveway. Especially at the end, it can make it hard to see. And if you don't get any melting for a while, then you can quickly run out of places to put the snow. You're better off piling the snow a few feet into your lawn. 3. Brush off your car before you shovel. 4. It's very exhausting work. Be realistic of your age and your health. Hundreds of people die from heart attacks and strokes when shoveling snow from overexerting themselves. You're better off to hire someone to clear it for you. Get snow tires, if you can afford them. Especially if you have a RWD car. And buy a brush for your car before winter. Buy 2 and leave 1 by your front door. If it snows at night and your only brush is inside your car, it's a pain to brush off the door with your sleeve just to still get snow in the car so you can get your brush. Yeah, good call. Never even thought of it. And always brush the snow off of your roof. Otherwise that shit will fly off when you're going down the highway and smash into someone's windshield. Or if you hit your brakes hard, the unit of snow can slide forward and cover your windshield while simultaneously jamming your wipers down. For sure, I live in NH and fairly regularly see people pulled over by state troopers and forced to clean it off on the side of the highway. I have a push broom with the handle cut down so it fits in my car better. Labeled for snow only, like 5 to 6 passes and the whole thing is clean. Buy a brush for your car before winter and get your snow tires on before the first snowfall. Buy a snow shovel before the first snowfall. Buy salt before the first snowfall. If you have an RWD car, make sure you add some weight over the rear tires. My pickup is RWD and I add about 400 pounds of sandbags to the bed when I need to drive in slippery weather. I also have studded winter tires on all 4 wheels for winter. Sandbags are good because you can open them up and spread sand under your tires for extra grip if you need it, but the extra weight can quite literally be the difference between making it over a hill or having to reverse back down and try to find another way home. Between the sandbags and the studded tires, I get around just fine. Also, a lot of cars have really wide tires these days for better dry pavement grip. The wider sizes absolutely suck for driving in snow. However, because they just kind of float on top, narrower tires will dig down through the snow better, which means less spinning and sliding around. Ask your tire shop for their recommendations. Adding weight benefits vehicles with poor weight distribution, such as pickups. Any properly balanced car has no need for added weight. This is going to sound dickish and elitist. But, if you can't afford snow tires in a place where it snows, you can't afford the car. Your all-season tires are absolutely not good enough to get by in a Canadian winter. Yes, even in Vancouver. I grew up in a place that snowed on the last day of school, first week of June, twice growing up. So I've driven in snow a lot. I'm completely comfortable with all seasons. Not all of them are equal, but there are plenty of good ones that can be safely driven in snow, even by mediocre snow drivers, and I would rather ride with a very skilled snow driver on shitty all seasons than an overconfident new snow driver on the best winter tires. Not sure if you've ever been to Vancouver, but it snows for about 2 hours a year. All seasons are fine in most urban places where they plow the roads. If you live in BF Saskatchewan, get snow tires. Otherwise, slow down. Give yourself space and be careful. You'll be fine. Are winter tires not compulsory in snowy US states? In some snowy countries in Europe there is this obligation. Here, if you are caught without winter tires from the 1st of November until mid-April, you can be fined up to €5,000. Driving on snow without winter tires is dangerous for yourself and other road users. Drive like your grandmother is sitting in your passenger seat in her Sunday best holding a large boat of hot gravy. Pretty sure I stole that from something, but I can't remember where. If you're still finding yourself sliding backwards and are in a pinch letting some air out of your tires can increase traction as it creates more surface area of the tire on the road. Turn off traction control if stuck in a parking lot or going up a steep hill slowly. Turn it back on as soon as you're not stuck. Snow is easier to walk on than ice. And if walking on ice, do the penguin, walk flat-footed. No bending the sole of your shoe, more contact, more grip, less slipping. Exactly. Small steps, keeping your feet under you. I mentioned walking like a penguin to some of my Florida friends, and they thought I was crazy. All us people that live in cold states knew exactly what I was talking about. I once walked across a frozen lake, just as it started showing. Lightly snow-covered ice is worse than ice alone. Coming back we had 4 inches of snow, and it was so much easier. If you can, walk where the snow is still crunchy, not where it is packed flat, if you don't have a lot of traction on your shoes. Packed snow is pretty slick all on its own, and sometimes has a layer of ice on top of it as well. Be very aware of how functional the soles of your shoes are. You can wear whatever fashionable boots or shoes you want. But don't kid yourself that boots with perfectly flat slick soles are great for walking across an iced over parking lot. I say this as a woman. I'm always surprised to turn over a cute pair of boots and find no tread on them at all. If you drive, then learn how to drive on snow and ice. Go to a big parking lot and practice making your car lose control. Do emergency stops, etc. Learn how it feels and how to recover from loss of control. Do it until recovering becomes second nature. Yes, good one. If you start sliding on snow/ice, you need to ease your foot off the brake. Not brake harder. It's the opposite of your intuition if you're not used to driving on snow. This is also true with rain. My grandfather gave me that advice when I first started driving. You lose control, take your foot off the pedal and only turn if you're going to hit something. It saved me quite a few times in heavy rain when losing control. Try not to use either pedal if you can avoid it. Also, it's counterintuitive, but if you lose control, turn your steering wheel in the direction you are going, not the direction you want to go. You want to get your wheels facing forward to regain control. A coworker also mentioned that he would test the roads at the summit, where all commuters, by hitting the brakes hard at the straightaway with fields on either side of the road, helped gauge what the roads would be like once you hit the 15-mile stretch of winding mountain road sans guardrail. Don't stop in a car while going up a hill. Maintain forward momentum, otherwise you will slide back. Learn the car rocking technique of getting a car unstuck. One person rocks it back and forth from the back, and you softly hit the gas on the lurch forward, taking the small momentum and amplifying it. My biggest pet peeve about winter drivers is when I'm following them and they don't try to gain any speed before going up a hill. Honestly, a basic physics lesson would go a long way with winter driving. If you're approaching a curve that warrants slowing down, slow down more than you need to, and slowly, I said slowly, accelerate through the curve. Accelerating through the curve helps to change the direction of inertia, which reduces the chances of your car going straight instead of turning. The acceleration needs to be slow and smooth to avoid breaking traction, however, and don't spin the wheels for very long. It digs you in. That's one reason for the above rocking. I'm from Buffalo if it helps, so snow isn't so bad. But when the weather report calls for consistent freezing rain, don't plan to go anywhere. Wait to see how many other cars are on the road before you head out. If there's a decent amount of other people on the roads, you should be okay. Take advantage of the warm months. There's a lot of festivals and the like during the summertime. You should take advantage of them. Layers are important. Get oversized coats so you can wear a sweater and scarf beneath it if the weather reports calls for any kind of storm. Milk and bread are going to fly off the shelf. We don't know why when it's really cold. Always make sure to keep your car's tank at least half full. Being a person who has always lived in a snowy country, I loved how you use the term oversized coats. Where I come from we just call them winter jackets. But you're right, they do have to have space underneath. P.S. Do the same with shoes. If you're going to live in a cold area, if the weather reports calls for any kind of storm, milk and bread are going to fly off the shelf. We don't know why. Because people want to make sure they have enough staples for a few days in case they can't get back to the store right away. Milk, bread, beans and rice, soups, toilet paper. Personally, I like to make sure I have things that I don't need to cook in case the power is out. Well, back when I had an electric stove, Do not pour boiling water on your windshield to melt ice. It will crack your windshield from the temperature difference. Do people actually do this? Wear waterproof boots when outdoors. Your feet will thank you when the snow starts to melt. Ugh, it's such a pet peeve when boots and socks get soaked from snow. Wool socks retain heat even when they're wet. Not soaked, though. As much as you want to, don't stick your tongue on the pole. Ripped a chunk off my tongue doing that. God, it hurt to rip myself free. There wasn't enough time for any other removal method. The school bus was coming down the street. It was super gross going back the next day and seeing the little chunk still frozen to the pole. Dude, you should've taken it home with you and cooked it. Get a good coat from an actual winter wear company. Wear thermal clothes under your regular clothes. If your house is cold, use heated blankets. Buy temporary insulation for your windows. And use thermal curtains. To add to the clothes part, many people have talked about layers. If feeling cold, using a tight scarf, a woolly hat, gloves and tucking your belly in will keep the warmth underneath the clothes. My mum called it hide the navel when I was small. I always make sure my ankles are covered up, too. We always called it keeping our kidneys warm when the lower back is exposed. Like when a sweater rides up, it really makes you feel the cold. Some companies that have pretty good winter jackets that are quite warm, but not crazy expensive, are Columbia, Patagonia, Albion, Eddie Bauer, North Face, Duluth Trading Co. Definitely not an exhaustive list, but as a Minnesotan of who takes outdoor gear pretty seriously, these are all good brands for quality winter wear. Personally, I'm a fan of Columbia for their Omni heat linings plus removable shell from liner jackets. Between my Columbia jacket and my mucklucks, I have my next 10 winters ready to go. Don't try and get through an entire winter season with a dinky ass sweater or jacket. Buy a proper winter coat and never suffer again. Increase your following distance. Drive slower. Use your turn signals and slow down. Did I say slow down? Dress in layers. Put an emergency kit, blankets, flares, shovel, food, water, etc. in your vehicle and make sure your phone is fully charged before venturing out. Set your thermostat and leave it. Adjusting it up and down causes undue wear on your heating system, increasing the chances of failure. It will also increase your monthly bill. Also, prepare for winter before winter. You don't adjust it for sleep. I always drop the temp down to like 62 for sleepy time. Keep a bag of cat litter in the back of your car. Not only does the weight in the back help when driving in snowy, slippery conditions, but if you get stuck you can use the cat litter around your tires to gain traction should you get stuck. Start shoveling even if snowing is coming down. It is always good to stay ahead of the dune snow makes. I shoveled an unusual 11 inches of snow one day, so my girlfriend would have a dry path in when she got back from a night shift. That took for fucking ever. And made for good fucking after. All my tips are going to revolve around kids BC. There's plenty of adult advice but not much. On kids 1, if you can tie a ribbon onto their mittens and thread it through their coat's arms, then they won't lose the mitten/gloves constantly. I slipped knot the ribbon through the loop to hang the coat on. 2. If your kids are still in 5-point car seats, do not put them in puffy coats. Puffy doesn't equal warm, but it can let the belts be loose enough in an accident it can be deadly. Instead put them in a good fitting water resistant and or wind resistant jacket that lets you buckle them snugly, and when you are transporting them to and from the car, you can wrap them in a blanket for the short walk. If you're taking them somewhere where you will be spending time outdoors, just bring a heavy coat and put them in it when you arrive. In my case, winter boots were completely unnecessary until they were 3. They had too short of legs to manage snow pants and boots before that age. Tennis shoes and socks will keep them plenty warm in a car with working heat. 3. If it feels the tiniest bit damp, lay it out to dry. Get creative with your heating situation. 3-meter hook with clotheslines tied to them to get close a hot air blowing. Lay things over floor vents that blow air up. Don't assume it will be dry in the morning if you just hang it up anywhere, and if it's really wet, just wash and dry it. 4. They will beg to play outside in the snow. Have a plan in place for when you come back in. I usually put a few bath towels down so when they step out of the wet clothes, They aren't stepping in a puddle and getting the possibly dry stuff wet. I also can lay stuff on the towels as we take it off and not worry about a puddle forming underneath and catching me by surprise later when I'm trying to dry out everything. A folding chair or two in your entryway closet can make the whole process easier. They can sit there to get boots on and off and not on the floor that may or may not be soaked with salty, slushy mess. Our main entrance is also the only way to get upstairs, and stepping in puddles with socks on is the worst. I'm sure I'll think of others. But most winter stuff with kids goes back to the prep. If you have a good plan, you will be okay. And if that plan fails, it's still a success because now you know what not to do next time. The gloves with ribbons? Yeah, do that for yourself. Or have a buttoned setup or something. You don't want to lose your gloves. And you don't want to accidentally pull them out of a pocket straight into a semi-frozen dirty puddle. Don't drive through snowdrifts in parking lots. You don't know what is being concealed. Before I could drive, our HS senior friend shared the oil pan off his car messing around in a snow-covered mall parking lot, and kids playing them. Super dangerous. Wear a scarf. And not like Harry Potter or some trendy hipster. Put the damn thing around your neck. Cross it over once and most importantly, wear it under your coat. It's all about stopping your body heat escaping around your neck. And put on a woolly hat. The Where's Waldo barbel on the end is optional. It's all about keeping your body heat in your body. I have seen some teens wearing a woolly hat in a way that keep their ears exposed. It looks hilarious in an area where we have -15 degrees Celsius. Never ever speed. Go like 50 miles per hour maximum. Buy thick wool socks. Buy rechargeable hand warmers. Remember to clear the snow on the roof of your car. Once the car starts moving, the snow will slide down to the rear window. I also always kept my gloves in my coat jacket so that I won't lose or forget it. There's also a YouTube video on how to steer the car when it starts swerving. If the rear of the car slides to the right, turn your wheel clockwise and vice versa. People often slam on the brake when it starts to swerve. But that makes it worse. It's better to hit the gas a little bit. And don't panic. Do not leave soda in the car overnight. It will explode. Again. Never ever speed. Let everyone else pass. Everyone will understand. Again. Never ever speed. Let everyone else pass. Everyone will understand. You would hope this is true. But it isn't. People get just as pissed off at people going slow in the snow/ice. The complaint I always hear when it snows is nobody knows how to drive in the snow around here. I always reply with yeah they do. They're driving slower to make sure they don't slip and slide. Just because that's not fast enough for you doesn't make them a bad snow driver. Then their complaint is they shouldn't drive when it's like this outside. Then well, we all got to get to work, buddy. Just plan a little better and leave earlier when it's snowing to accommodate people going slow. Get an automatic car starter. It's a lifesaver. You'll need an ice scraper if it's really windy there, like barren land with no trees to slow/stop the wind. Get a ski mask. It can get hard to breathe with the cold air. Snow tires or all season tires really make a difference. If you think you're going to rear end someone, just bomb it into the snowbank instead. I've never damaged my car this way. Maybe I'm just lucky. Leave a decent distance between you and the car in front of you. Tapping the brakes or downshifting is better than slamming on the brakes. Slamming on the brakes will cause you to slide, lose control, spin out. Tapping gradually slows the vehicle down. If it's below 20 degrees out, chances are the roads are frozen. Black ice becomes a serious threat. Try not to drive if it's that cold. Invest in a good pair of snow boots and a warm winter coat/glove/hat. Get a snowblower/shovel or find someone for hire to plow your driveway for you. Cost is usually depends on the length of your driveway. If you're caught driving in a blizzard/squall on a highway, follow the mile markers and stay away from large Mack trucks. Find a winter hobby other than snuggling up on the couch. Most importantly, go outside during a good snowfall, wrapped up in a cozy blanket, with a nice warm cup of hot chocolate, and enjoy how peaceful it is. The snowfall actually silences everything around you. It absorbs sound waves. Put on a full coat of wax on your vehicle before winter starts. Turn on your car for 15 minutes before leaving the house in cold weather. It helps warm it up and can prevent unnecessary wear and tear when warmer weather comes. Rinse out the underneath of your car with the hose to wash off all that corrosive road salt. It can add years more to the lifetime of your vehicle. Trust me. Edit. Listen to the guy who replied to me for the last one, cause him not a mechanic, haha. Do it once a week instead of at the end of the season when warmer weather comes. Rinse out the underneath of your car with the hose to wash off all that corrosive road salt. Don't wait until it gets warm. Do this once a week at one of those coin-op car washes. And try to knock as much of that crap off the car as you can when you park it. Source: former mechanic from Buffalo. Get good gloves or mittens. It sucks when your hands get really stiff. They might feel okay, but then it takes like you 10 minutes to grab your keys, insert them into the lock, and twist it, because your cold fingers have lost all dexterity. Slow down on ice, but hit your brake as few times as possible. When you're braking or hitting the gas, that's when the problems happen. If you are parked and your tires start spinning in the snow when you try to leave, pump the accelerator at a moderate rhythm instead of flooring it. It might help you rock out of the slippery spot, or, if it's really deep, reverse a little bit, then move forward a little bit, and repeat. It might create a spot that is tamped down enough for you to get traction. If you're driving up a hill that is slippery, do the same thing with pumping the gas at a moderate rhythm. Sometimes the start-stop of the wheels turning can get you moving before you start to slide. You just need enough momentum to get over the top. If you're sliding downhill, any modern car should have anti-lock brakes so it's safe to slam your brakes. But if you have an old car, pre-90s, you should look up what kind of brakes you have. If they're not anti-lock, slamming the brakes could just lock them up, in which case you should pump the brakes. Edit: to clarify, you should pump the brakes to begin with. If you don't have anti-lock, if they're already locked up, you can't pump them. Obviously, don't rush. Learn to walk like a penguin. If there is ice, carry a shovel in your vehicle. Do car maintenance before the winter starts, if you can afford it. Have separate set of winter tires. Fill up gas tank before a snowstorm. This will give extra weight on your vehicle, so you can have more traction. During the snow season, wake up earlier to check the weather so, if you need extra time, you'll have it. Otherwise hit that snooze button. If you're shoveling a lot of snow, then don't lift with your back. Don't let snow build up. Shovel frequently. If you have a snowblower, get it started up before the temperature drops and check fluid and equipment. Buy a set of winter floor mats for your vehicle. Keep frozen meals and canned goods, non-perishables, stocked in case you get snowed in. One of my big rules is to keep meals that don't need to be heated around in case the snow, or errant, skidding car knocks out the power. I don't have the room to keep portable heaters around. And no fireplace/pit, PB&J, bread, chips, tuna, and fruit. Weatherproof gloves, boots and outer layers are a must. You don't want that cold wet in your socks, under your layers, or touching any skin at all. Don't skimp on this, like you shouldn't skimp on underwear, socks, bedding, tires, or anything else between you and the ground. You want quality things that last a while between you and the cold wet. Blow your breath out like you're exhaling smoke. It makes you look cool without the side effects of actually smoking. Honestly, I love walking and biking when not too slick. In the winter, it takes less prep time and gets me warmed up for the day, and if I'm lucky I'll get a little sunshine. Better than scraping a car off for 30 minutes, shivering the whole way if it wasn't heated up enough, and slipping and sliding in the road. Get a quality down jacket, a pair of mittens, and polarized sunglasses. Snow can get very bright. If you're not opposed to the effort and actually have a wood stove, burn firewood. Gas can explode, suffocate you. Not to mention how much it costs to get all of that stuff set up, if you don't already. I've lived near the northern US border most of my life, and the firewood gets the job done so much better. Plus it's atmospheric as heck. Oh yeah, and different types of wood burn differently, from the speed and heat, to even the smell. I know you might be opposed to cutting down trees and releasing carbon and all, but what it takes to get the gas to you for a propane setup puts out so much more. From the trucks they bring it in, to the metals used to store it, firewood is the way for me. As much as I hate having to stack up a ton of it every year, don't slack on shoveling/snow blowing. Once it builds up, it's way harder to deal with. You might need strong shovels and metal bars to break the ice. Let me not forget, ice melt. This stuff is legendary. Not only does it de-ice, it provides grip, especially your roof. Unless it's sloped/slippery enough, you'll have to get that off, or you risk collapsing your entire house. Warm, waterproof clothing. Down jackets are great for heat, but I find them too flimsy for the work I do. So I just layer up and put on a polyester jacket over. Hand/feet warmers come in handy as well. All of this has probably already been said here, but I figure a wall of information is just as good as scrolling through hundreds of comments. Good luck, my friend. Hopefully you don't get 5 feet of snow through the winter. Make sure you start your car and defrost at a minimum of 10 minutes before you plan to leave. Keep a brush/scraper in your car. And if the show is super deep, keep your tires in the other car's path. Get matching color snuggies for your whole family. Look upon a significant snowfall as a free gym membership. Clear your driveway with a hand shovel and your workout needs are done for the day. Buy warm clothes and shoes for your pet. Stop extra from the person in front of you. When the car behind you starts to slow down, creep forward so the spot where they thought you were is now empty. Just in case they misjudged. Find an outdoor winter hobby. Ice fishing, snowmobiling and skiing are always good options. Learn to embrace the cold. Embrace the cold. Don't fight it. Take up cold weather sports, country skiing, etc. Dress warmly enough that you can go out and enjoy it, even if you are just putting out the trash. Wear warm boots, multiple layers, headgear when traveling by car. Bring preparations as others have suggested, and have a sleeping bag in the car so you could spend the night in the car if you had to. 2 pairs of socks, some traction chains for your shoes. Pay attention to where sidewalks are and which businesses keep this clean. Don't wear layers. Have good winter tires if needed and stay hydrated. Rear wheel drive does not handle well in winter conditions, unfortunately. Get a car with ORD. Learn how to make a left turn. Yes. This is where I live. Why do I live here? Why do I live here? Move. Ohio winters are sometimes brutal.